All right.
It's going up now. We'll be live and we are live on YouTube. It is time for Culture Clash, episode 187.
187.
Yeah.
It's a murder.
Yeah.
187.
Yeah. Yeah. It's already gonna be one of those shows here. We're gonna do a quick share out on the social media of the YouTube guys. Some of you will start joining into the chat here.
187 murder, death, kill. 187
Yep,
murder, death, kill.
Yep.
I'll do some chat checking here. All right. Feels like it's been a while since we've done the Culture Clash live. You know, we
3 weeks.
Yeah.
we had the fandom show, so we wanted to give that some spotlight.
Nathaniel's in the chat. He says, "So
What's
quiet."
up, Nathaniel?
Quiet as in we're not talking enough yet, or we're getting ready to start. So we're just putting stuff out. We're happening. We're doing it. So I got some stuff to talk about, though. All right. I got a couple things at the top of the show I'd like to throw in there.
Sure you do. Trying to get past the editors. We see how you are.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay, I got some social shares.
Hey,
we got people watching. Chef Stomp. Hey,
Jennifer's in the house. What's up, Jennifer?
Oh wait, is it just Jennifer who I just beat down in fantasy football this weekend?
Oh, don't test her. Don't test her right now. Don't test her.
I'm already on her list for the trade where I traded her a player that got injured like 3 days after we made the trade.
Yeah. I didn't do too well this week on that. Ugh. Anyway. All right, we ready, buddy?
I think we are. So,
all right.
Without further ado, we got some social shares out. We've been gone for a little bit, but it's time once again. So let's do actually, wait, hold on before I even say that. So many components. Now we're ready. Let's do this thing.
This is the Culture Clash.
Welcome to Culture Clash 187 here on the Fandom Podcast Network. We got all kinds of stuff for you today, but of course, Culture Clash is the flagship show of the Fandom Podcast Network, your source for all the latest in fandom news and reviews. And I'm here. I'm Kyle. It's been an up and down week. We had some exciting stuff with Mandalorian coming out, some sad news with Sir Sean Connery passing away. We got a few exciting news tidbits here. We got some interesting things in buy it, see it, or stream it. But of course, too, I can't do this alone. And joining me as always, the one, the only, the crazy Kevin Reitzel.
That actually should be like on there, like buy it, see it, or stream it, or unstream it. What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, coming off a little bit of a 24-hour bug yesterday, but all good. All good in the kitten hood, as I will say these days.
All good in the kitten hood. That's right. You've got two new members to the family.
Yes, 2 new members to the Fandom Podcast Network family. Eventually, they might come on camera and make a debut, but they're still little squirmy wormies right now. So, but
Hold on real quick. I know you're kind of working on the names, and Jennifer was wondering if I named the baby wombat that she gave me that I have here. I have not yet. I'm still working on it. He's so cute. Look at him. But have you been working on any names that are sticking yet? I'm not having what you're kind of. I don't know about your temporary names. One of them's okay, but the other ones I'm not.
Okay, well, Tummy's sticking. Tummy is the girl.
Tummy is sticking. I like Tummy,
and it's officially going to be Tum. We're going to throw a little nickname in there. It's going to be Tummy Mahomes.
How about just Tum Tum? I like Tum.
We do Tum Tum as well, but for fun's sake, with little Tummy Mahomes.
Tummy Mahomes. Okay. The other one you've nicknamed Stripes or Stripey or something.
Stripesy, and which the reason why he has a little stripe right down the middle of his chin. Right. When we were just trying to differentiate them before I decided if I was keeping them or not, and I rescued 3. So for those listening out there, real quick, I rescued 3 kittens from my work. We have a feral cat who's kind of adopted our building over the last year and a half. She had 1 litter of kittens during COVID, and we couldn't rescue it in time. She had moved them. But luckily, we were able to save these 3 kittens from her most recent litter. And I brought them home with me and had foster cared them because the shelter that I was going to take them to couldn't see them for a week because they're only doing rescues by appointment because of COVID. Well, during that time, these 3 little kittens kind of stole my heart. And unfortunately, just because of rules of where I live and a few other things, I could only keep 2 of them. And to be honest with you, 3 cats is a lot for any one person.
This is true, yeah. And it's good. I'm glad that you actually have like 2 siblings. When I adopted 2 cats when I moved to Virginia back in '99, I named them. They were from the same litter, and I named them Neo and Morpheus. And it was good that they were together because they could be together all the time and stuff like that. By the way, Derek Marsh, co-host, of course, of What a Piece of Junk podcast here on the Fandom Podcast Network. He's in there. Jennifer wants me to maybe name the little wombat Kevin Armageddon. Do you know what she means by that?
I have a pretty good idea, but and by the way, Derek, no, I am not naming the kitten the Drunken Gungan.
No, that name's taken. Taken. So,
but no, they've been great. The one that I had to give up has gone to a very good home with one of my coworkers and is adapting very nicely. She has an older cat, and it seems to be bringing some energy to the older cat too. So
cool.
It's going well. Stripesy, we're working on a little bit. I told Kevin when I had all 3 of them that I would possibly name them Mahomes, Hill, and Kelsey, and he was having
no. I did something. I'm sorry. You're gonna.
I was just gonna say if I would have named them like Gannon, Stabler, and maybe Allen or something like that.
Yeah. See, now you're talking.
That's how this works.
So I did something I haven't done in a long time, Kyle.
What's that?
I bought a video game.
What? Wait. You still own a video game for a system first and foremost?
I have Xbox One still. Although I haven't used it in quite a while. I was using it as a thing to use all my streaming apps, but I went to
Apple TV.
Went to Apple TV, and also I went to Fire Stick on Amazon as well. So, but I haven't played it yet. But it's been hard to find, and I finally found G.I. Joe Operation Blackout.
You're gonna have to let me know about that because I can order it and get it, but I haven't heard enough about it to whether it's worth it or not. So you have a video game review in your future, Mr. Reitzel.
I do. But apparently it's pretty cool because you can do G.I. Joe versus Cobra. Play 12 of your favorite Cobras from both and characters from both sides across the. It says from both sides across 17 epic campaign story missions. You can co-op and do multiplayer as well. Combat tools. You use 18 awesome weapons, 36 weapon skins, 12 alternate character skins and stuff. So. And then you can play 12 of your favorite characters from both sides with the legendary franchise stuff going on. So I don't know. I'll check it out. But because it's G.I. Joe, I'm been kind of hungry for new G.I. Joe stuff. I also got this because thanks to Matthew Clifton, I haven't watched the last few episodes, but I really enjoyed it. And so I decided to buy the complete first season. I got Harley Quinn on
Oh yeah, it's
DVD.
amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that. And because it was Halloween recently, Kyle, and stuff was on sale at Walmart,
Mhm.
the Walmart I went to took a lot of stuff off the shelves of the
Mhm.
DVDs and Blu-rays and threw a bunch into the 5 bin
Yeah, I've noticed they've
thing.
been doing that.
Yeah, so I went and got Nicolas Cage Mandy.
Oh.
Wait. Why are you giving that a facepalm? Why are you giving Mandy a facepalm?
Because it's Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage at this point.
Did you see it?
I've seen it. It was rough.
It was awesome. Plus, it has one of the best cinematic bladed weapons of all time.
Okay.
By the way, there's a conversation going on between Nathaniel and Jennifer about Stargate. By the way,
yeah. I'm going to say this: Stargate Universe underrated. They ended it before it got a fair chance.
No, it wasn't. I tried watching that first season. It was tough, man. It was.
But I will
tough.
say this: my vote, Stargate Atlantis, the most fun of the Stargate shows.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say that, but it was definitely fun. I mean, I really enjoyed the SG-1 as well.
Yeah,
So,
so.
But,
well,
I was kind of curious. I know Nathaniel, you're the the Stargate expert out there. I'm kind of curious what you thought of Universe. So, but anyway.
Anyway, let's get the show rolling here. You can find the Culture Clash along with all the other great shows under the Fandom Podcast Network umbrella at fpnet.podbean.com, our homepage, home of our master feed. You can also download the Podbean app and search for the Fandom Podcast Network. Of course, we are also on all other major podcast catchers, including iTunes and /Apple Podcasts, also iHeartRadio as well. You can also find us on Facebook, Fandom Podcast Network, where we try to keep you updated with all the latest news and happenings. You can email us directly at fandompodcastnetwork@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram, Fandom Podcast Network, or on Twitter at FanPod Network. Of course, I'm Kyle. You can find me on Twitter at AKyleW. Also on Instagram, AKyleFandom. Kevin, first of all, I got to ask you, I shared a post about 3 or 4 days ago with some certain action figures that very much tie in with your Twitter handle.
Yes. Yeah. What was the name of the company that
I'm trying to remember. I might have to go back and look at the post, but first tell the people where they can find you on social media.
Oh, sure. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Spartan_Phoenix.
So all I had in my head when you saw that was your eyes popping out of your head in excitement.
Yeah. I was pretty excited about it. So apparently there's a company that's releasing Demolition Man figures. I couldn't tell, were they 6-inch, were they 3 3/4 or 5-inch? Do you remember?
I think they were 3 3/4.
Yeah, but they showed obviously John Spartan and Lelina Huxley and of course Simon Phoenix, and I'm really excited. I hope to get my hands on those, so that would be really cool.
Yeah. So now there are a few ways to support the Fandom Podcast Network. Obviously, if you're watching this, you're aware of our YouTube channel. We love to have you subscribe, give us some likes on our shows. That way, when you subscribe, you get notified when we go live. Of course, everybody in the chat, thank you for joining us as always. Also to TeePublic, lots of sales going on. We're getting ready for the holidays. Get all your Fandom Podcast Network gear, whether it's shirts, masks, hoodies.
I just bought some stuff from TeePublic.
There you go. You got some tapestries, you get some pillows, laptop cases, all kinds of good stuff. TeePublic.com. Search for the Fandom Podcast Network or the title of your favorite show at the Fandom Podcast Network. And also now you can get the new Fandom Show shirt on the TeePublic store as well.
This is true. Yep. It's up there. I went there. I think I got what did I get? I think I got a new Blood of King shirt. And then picked some other stuff off the stuff that wasn't Fandom Podcast Network related, because there's a bunch of cool shirts on there. And and an upcoming episode of Blood of Kings, we talk about Highlander product, and there's a lot of Highlander related product when it comes to imagery and images and stuff for apparel on TeePublic. So we talk about that next month.
Yep. Of course, get your Team Iron Pipe shirt as well.
Yeah, that's right.
There we go. We love reviews, especially on iTunes, Apple Podcasts. We love those 5-star reviews, of course. But you know what? We'll take any reviews we can get, because as always, we're striving to do podcasts that feed your ears around here. And we want to make sure your ears are well fed, because, full ears are healthy ears. I think that's somebody told me that somewhere down the line.
Okay.
It's Monday and we're doing Culture Clash. What do you say? But Kevin, we got some interesting things to talk about. So you feeling it? Are you feeling it?
Let's news.
Let's news.
Oh my gosh, he's got the Raider pony out. That's just for you there, Kevin. That's the Raider pony. Let's start off with something that's going to happen this weekend, Kevin. We're both SNL fans. We're big fans of SNL. This is going to be one of the more interesting times for this particular host to be on. Dave Chappelle is going to return to host the first Saturday Night Live after the election.
Oh yeah, this will be interesting.
Normally we don't put this kind of stuff out. We stay away from the political stuff here. We're not about that, but
yeah, we don't like to talk about politics here.
But the timing of all this just falls way too much in place. This could be one of the most watched Saturday Night Lives in a good while.
Yeah, it's funny. I haven't been watching it weekly like I normally used to. And they've been doing everything in a way to where they have to social distance as well and stuff. But they always drop the cold opens that they do. Especially, they've been having a lot of fun with their versions of whatever the debates were and stuff like that. And this is gonna be interesting.
Yeah. So tune in to Saturday Night. This might be, if you can't watch it, it might be a must DVR Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, exactly, definitely.
So, Oscar Isaac looks like he might have his next role, and especially if Dune ever does come out. I don't know. He's in that, but
I know, right?
He might be returning to Disney, but not for Star Wars. He is in talks to possibly play the character of Moon Knight for Marvel's Disney Plus series that they're developing. This would be actually really good casting for this character. I think he would be good. If you're not familiar with Moon Knight, he's kind of Marvel's answer to Batman, but he does have some powers. Based off of some things that have been granted to him from the moon god, the Khonshu. He's known as the Fist of Khonshu in the MCU.
No idea what that means, Kyle. You got to spell it out for us people that don't know that stuff. Come on.
Well, I'm trying to spell it out for you.
You're saying Moon Knight, Khonshu, blah, 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 blah. Come on.
Well, like I said, he's kind of the Marvel Universe's answer to Batman.
Okay, does that mean he's got a cool car? Does he have gadgets in his utility belt?
Oh yeah, he doesn't have the car. He doesn't have the car, but he has lots of cool gadgets. He has a really cool plane.
Okay, all right.
But one of the more interesting things about
this Kashyyyk thing you were talking about, though?
In the Marvel universe, the god of the moon is named Khonshu.
Khonshu. Okay, that's a real thing.
Yeah, it's a real Egyptian thing.
Egyptian thing. Gotcha. Okay.
So, and the moon god selects a fist to operate on Earth for him.
Okay.
In the comics, the character is named Mark Spector, and he's a mercenary, and he's left to die in the desert. Khonshu picks him to become.
Okay, I'm digging it. I'm liking this. Cool.
But here's where things get a little bit weird with Moon Knight. Moon Knight has multiple personality disorder. He's got 3 different personalities, and it makes things interesting depending on which personality is kind of in control.
I could totally see Oscar Isaac just diving into that big time.
Yeah. A lot of people have been very excited for this. It's a very popular cult character in the Marvel Universe. It actually has been getting a lot of run in the Avengers comic lately.
Oh, that's cool. You know who, a good friend of mine who I've known for many years, Kat Cedar, he is a huge fan of Moon Knight. He actually has a costume of Moon Knight, and he's chosen the classic one that's mostly white.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to go over well in this live action thing, though, because that's very comic booky type outfit, so
we'll see how it plays out. There's a few different alterations they've done to Moon Knight over the years.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. And the last piece of news, I had to put it in because if I didn't, I think Aaron would find me and hunt me down. Clive Barker is returning to Hellraiser. HBO has been developing a Hellraiser series for a while. Obviously, it's been slowed down a little bit for COVID, but they have gotten Clive Barker to come back to be the executive producer for this show. And he is going to have heavy input. This could finally be getting a Hellraiser that a lot of fans have been screaming for a very long time, Kevin.
Oh, who was the actor that played Pinhead what's his name? I hope that they bring him in some type of way. That would be really cool.
Yeah,
can't
no,
remember.
that would be very interesting. But I'm excited about this. The Hellraiser franchise. I'm not a huge horror fan, but I've always found the mythos of the Hellraiser franchise to be quite interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I actually enjoyed the series. I don't rewatch them though, really, because they're creepy and bloody and stuff. But I wouldn't mind going back and revisiting though. And I think that HBO is a perfect place to really get into the story, the mythos, and the blood.
Yeah, yeah.
Jennifer said that her husband Dave is on board with the Hellraiser show. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'd give
So
it.
no.
I'd give it a shot. You
Yeah,
know,
I give it a fair
David.
shot.
Is it Bradley's Dave something Bradley, the who played Pinhead? I can't remember. Anyway, I hope that he has something in there.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Doug Bradley. Doug Bradley.
Doug
was the
Bradley. Thank
actor's
you.
name.
Thank you.
So
Let me just say real quick, visually that series was really good, and that first one is intense because it's not very action oriented like the second one is, where it actually like takes you to hell and stuff. It's like this kind of like torturous type of like haunting feel of tension through that whole film, and I liked it because it wasn't your average horror film that would be kind of a jump scare type of thing. It really kind of messed with your mind and your desires and stuff like that. So that's why I thought it was pretty cool.
yeah, no, I agree. We're gonna get to a special section of the news here. We're gonna make this a little bit more of an extended segment because Sean Connery passed away just a few days ago, Kevin.
Yes.
I know we're going to have all kinds of things on the Fandom Podcast Network. Obviously, you're doing some great things planned for Blood of Kings over the next few weeks. There, I know Adam O'Brien, Sean Connery was his favorite actor. And so he's going to be doing some stuff.
I don't want to sell that short. Adam O'Brien, who is the host of our Lethal Mullet podcast here under the Fandom Podcast Network, celebrating 80s and 90s action films. Sean Connery is and was and still is, of course, his favorite actor, and he took it hard, and I don't blame him one bit. It's one of those things that when it hits you that hard, you're not always ready to talk about it right away, and you kind of deal with it in your own way. And so I know that he wants to celebrate him, and I've talked to him about that, maybe guesting on his show, talking about one of Connery's films. But I did want to mention that over on Blood of Kings, our Highlander podcast, of course, Lee, my co-host, and we're going to be doing 2 shows to celebrate Sean Connery. We just recorded one last night. We recorded one with John Mosby, who, if you're a Highlander fan, you should know by now that he is the author of Fearful Cemetery, the essential guide to all things Highlander. And so I had to have him on with Lee and to give our initial responses to this. And we also talked about, Sean's legacy and the other stuff that he's worked on. We read some quotes from fans on Blood of Kings about what their reactions were. But we had an interesting discussion, too, talking about all of our other favorite Connery films. And tomorrow, if everything goes accordingly, we're going to be recording part 2 with Grant Kempster, who is the proprietor, I guess you could say, of the biggest Highlander Facebook fan group, which is Highlander Heart. I've met Grant in person. I've interviewed him before as well, and he's out of UK, and he used to actually be the president. He used to run the Highlander fan club. Used to put out a publication for quite a long time, and he's got his own YouTube show called the Highlander Heart Show, which is also very good. That's on YouTube. And also we're going to have Jonathan Melville on with Grant. And Melville, over here behind my shoulder there, is the author of A Kind of Magic, the making of Highlander, the original Highlander movie, of course, 1986. He just published his book. Had over 60 interviews of people in front of the camera, behind the camera. So we're going to get him on there. And Jonathan actually has met Sir Sean Connery. And so he's going to talk about that as well.
Yeah. But Kevin, I want to talk about, for us and Sean Connery films, but I want to talk about an article that I found on 411 Mania and this was their kind of the 15 must-see films of Sean Connery. So I just want to run down this real quick if you don't mind. No Zardos, sorry.
No Zardos.
Yeah.
Hold on. Jen said Zed from Zardos is the best.
Yeah. Okay, so they had. I'm just going to run this through real quick. At number 15, Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
Did you ever see that?
Yeah, it was a great old Disney used to show that all the time.
I've never seen that.
I think it's on Disney Plus.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Darby, you said?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I gotta look that up.
Number 14, Entrapment. No, the great thing about Entrapment is Catherine Zeta-Jones going through the lasers. Just saying.
Yeah, I would agree. That movie has a cult following though, but it's not one of my favorites.
Number 13, The Name of the Rose.
Yes, okay, that should be there, definitely.
Number 12, a movie I forgot Sean Connery was even in, and that's Time Bandits.
Yeah.
Number 11, one of his earlier films, he did a movie with Alfred Hitchcock called Marine.
Mm-hmm. It's
Marnie. Marnie, yes. Number 10, Finding Forrester.
This is a movie that a lot of the fans in Bloody Kings were talking about, and I've never seen this film.
I think I saw it a long time ago, but it was pretty good. Number 9, The Hill, a movie I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Number 8, the original, his version of Murder on the Orient Express. Number 7, The Rock.
Yes, The Rock.
Number 6, The Wind and the Lion. Number 5, a movie who I'm a big fan of, The Man Who Would Be King, with Sean Connery and Michael Caine.
I remember seeing that years ago. That was a good movie. Yes.
Yeah, I saw that for a film class and it hooked me.
I found out too, by the way, he met Michael Caine in 1954, 55 doing theater, and that's how they became friends.
Wow, that's cool. Number 4, The Hunt for Red October. Number 3,
Marco Ramius. There you go.
Number 3, The Untouchables, which got him his Academy Award.
Yep.
Number 2, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Yep.
And number 1, Goldfinger.
I would have done Russia with Love, but I could see that. Yeah. Okay. I think there's a few that are missing off here. One of my favorites is 1981's Outland, which is
a good one.
High Noon in Space. So yeah, I remember Medicine Man. It was okay. I remember that was good too. Yeah. By the way, I am a fan of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I've warmed up to that over the last 20 years.
Yeah, I think there's some fun things in that. The story itself is still lacking a little, especially if you've read the original graphic novels. But
real quick, I'm going to put you on the spot because Derek Marsh says his favorite is Indiana Jones 3. Obviously, I liked it in that one because he was funny. You know, what is your favorite Sean Connery movie of all time? Throw it out there. Which one's your favorite?
I think I got to go with him as Bond because I love all his Bond films. But I do love Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is probably number 2. I'm going to throw out one that I like as a kind of a cult type film is Medicine Man.
Yeah,
I've always kind of liked him in that. I have a warm spot for him with League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and like I said, I'm a big fan of The Man Who Would Be King.
It's kind of sad though that list did not include Highlander, and thank you, Derek, for mentioning that. Obviously my favorite is Highlander, but a good close second for me is The Untouchables.
Yeah, The Untouchables is up there, and he was an amazing actor. It's kind of a shame that he kind of left on the terms he did, but he left on his own terms. He retired on his own terms.
He was really good. He was really good in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Jennifer brought that up. I just, the movie obviously wasn't great, but I still find it very enjoyable.
Well, I think you can put Sean Connery in a paper sack and he'd act his way out of it.
That's true. He's good.
So, no, it's a loss, but you know what? He was 90 years old. He lived a great life and gave us a lot of great films and memories. And
yeah, he celebrated his birthday in August and he passed away in the Bahamas,
where he wanted to be. So,
yep.
You know what? Thank you, Sir Sean, for everything you've done. We're going to have a lot more dedications to him. Like I said, Bloody Kings, Lethal Mullet's going to do some stuff. But I want Kevin and I want to get a chance to weigh in here as well, talk about some of his other things. He'll be missed. And, it's kind of sad, Kevin, when we start thinking about where some of these actors who maybe, yes, they're older now, but they were kind of the actors who helped bring us into fandom and films like Sir Sean Connery with James Bond and everything like that. So, they're starting to hit a little closer to home.
Yeah, they are definitely.
So-
We're losing them.
Well, with that, we're going to take a quick break here and tell you what else is going on around the Fandom Podcast Network.
Thank you for listening. We hope you're enjoying this podcast. We like to continue to feed your ears by inviting you to listen to the Fandom Podcast Network and all of the other awesome shows we have to offer. It starts with our flagship show, Culture Clash, our weekly pop culture news podcast. Bloody Kings, our Highlander podcast. Couch Potato Theater, our podcast celebrating our favorite movies. Time Warp, the Fandom Flashback podcast discussing a year in movies and our favorite pop culture topics. End Zone, the NFL podcast. Good Evening, an Alfred Hitchcock podcast. Union Federation, our Star Trek and Orville podcast. Hair Metal, the 80s and early 90s rock metal podcast. Type 40, our Doctor Who podcast. Lethal Mullet, a 1980s and 90s action film podcast. What a Piece of Junk, a Star Wars podcast. And our newest show, Making Treks, a new Star Trek podcast with a deep dive into the final frontier with host Mark Newbold and Adam P. O'Brien. You can enjoy all of these great Fandom Podcast Network shows on our master feed at fpnet.podbean.com. Fandom Podcast Network is also on Apple Podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. You can also find us on Facebook under Fandom Podcast Network. You can also email us at fandompodcastnetwork@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter under Fandom Podcast Network. Thank you for listening, and remember, respect others and enjoy your fandom.
And we're back, and hopefully you're enjoying everything that we're doing here on the Fandom Podcast Network. Hopefully we're entertaining you and feeding your ears. But you know what? It's that time. We've seen a few things, it's getting slim pickings right now, Kevin.
You just got to know where to find it. I mean, yes, we're not going to the theater right now, but there's a lot of stuff to stream. There's a lot of stuff to entertain yourself with. So
yeah. So, well, without further ado, then it's time for a little buy it, stream it, or unsee it. And Kevin, you have been revisiting a show that I got through the first 2 seasons on that I absolutely loved. I need to get back into season 3, but it was a Cinemax show that I absolutely had a blast with.
Yeah, so The Boys, the Amazon original series that just wrapped up its 2nd season, just recently finished, and a lot of people are loving The Boys because it's about a bunch of vigilantes that are trying to bring superheroes that are not being so super behind the scenes and behind public eyes and being horrible people, trying to bring them to justice. And so a lot of people are been very complimentary of the performances by a lot of these people, like Carl Urban, who obviously plays the lead there. But one of the actors that is getting a lot of attention on The Boys is Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander, who basically is a Superman type character and is probably considered the most powerful super or soups, as they call them on The Boys. And so a lot of people have been going back and kind of seeing, well, what else has Anthony Starr, that's his name, been in? And he's been in a lot of he's been in some other episodic television like American Gothic, but he did a series called Banshee where he plays Lucas Hood, and it ran on was it Cinemax?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Cinemax.
Cinemax.
From 2013 to 2016, I think it was 4 seasons total, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And I had heard about it. I think I saw the first episode and I meant to continue watching it when it originally aired, and then I lost track of it. And it was Erin, my fiance, she's like, you got to watch this show. I think this is kind of like right under your wheelhouse here. And it's, if you haven't seen it, if you like The Boys, you will like this because it's people being very bad. There's mobsters, there's violence, there's nudity, all this stuff that makes The Boys entertaining, and it's really well written with a lot of cool characters. Like I said, action, a lot of violence, a lot of sex, all the stuff that we want. But what's cool about it is like you don't have to think too hard, which is great. There's not all these weird underlying like who's doing what to who and who are these new people. There's several figures that are all basically don't like each other and are trying to kill each other. And it's basically it's a guy that's fresh out of prison after 15 years. He's a master thief and he assumes the identity of a dead sheriff in Banshee, Pennsylvania. And he's after tracking down a woman that he loves, the one that he kind of got in trouble for. And he tries to avoid the detection of her father, a Ukrainian mobster looking to kill them, and basically. So you got the Ukrainian mob, you got the occasional outside threat that comes in, and then you also have this interesting little thing going on with the Amish group that's there, and the tie that this Ukrainian mobster and what he has this grip on in this small town. And it's very good. It's a lot of fun. If you just want to kind of turn your brain off and enjoy, some action. And I'll tell you right now, episode 3, season 1, Kyle, there is a fist fight.
Oh, yes.
I think eclipses the famous fist fight in They Live. It is bloody, it is brutal, and it is really well shot.
Yeah, no, I love the first 2 seasons of Banshee. I need to get back and rewatch the 3rd season. Kevin, I didn't put it on the list.
Hold on, sorry. Go. I was going to mention something in the chat, but if you're going to talk about
go ahead. What's in the chat?
Jennifer says that her husband Dave is streaming Dystopia and Utopia on Prime, and I think it was Utopia I was watching.
Yeah,
I got to try to get back into it. That show is pretty gnarly. I just want to mention that.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Nathaniel, I loved Californication.
yeah, that's a great show. I want to throw out something I watched. I talked with you a little bit about it because I'd asked if you had watched it. It's an HBO documentary going on right now, The Vow.
Yes.
Now, I didn't want to bring this up initially because it's pretty dark, but it does have a major fandom tie. The Vow is about the cult NXIVM, I think is how they pronounced it.
Yep, NXIVM. Yep.
Founded by Keith Raniere, but there was a couple of major names in fandom who became involved in this cult.
Yep.
One went full in and is facing the legal ramifications of everything that happened, and that is Allison Mack of Smallville fame.
Chloe Sullivan of Smallville.
Yeah.
She played, yes.
And she went full in and everything. But there's a Star Wars tie to this as well as Bonnie. Is it PC?
I think it's Peace. Yeah.
Who a lot
Bonnie
of you played the young Emperor in the second of the prequel films.
Yeah.
She also had a very nice singing career. She was actually doing performances at Star Wars Celebrations.
Mm-hmm.
She was a sweetheart of a person. I got to meet her at Celebration 5 in Orlando. Attended her concert. Was amazing. This documentary about the rise and fall of this cult, if you start watching it, it will just draw you in because you sit there and you can actually watch people being brainwashed. And it's disturbing.
It's fascinating because it kind of starts as a self-help empowerment group. And then what's his name? Rainier?
Yeah, who is, according to Jennifer in the chat, was just sentenced to 120 years in prison.
Yes, yeah. Keith Rainier. It's very intense. And I remember when this was kind of starting to go south and starting to learn more about it because Allison Mack was kind of starting this different, because there's all these different like
subgroups within
subgroups under this whole umbrella thing that they were doing, this pyramid scheme type of thing. And she was starting this women empowerment group, which basically just turned into a
recruiting for a sex
cult.
slave. Yeah, she was recruiting for sex slaves.
Yeah, recruiting for sex slaves and getting branded with her and Keith Rainier's initials. It's just crazy. But you also got like a few members from the Battlestar Galactica group.
Yeah,
Grace Park was in there. The other girl, I'm forgetting her name. Kristen Crook, of course, from Smallville. She got out a little bit earlier. But what's interesting is I met Bonnie in 2014, I think it was, in Germany at a Star Wars convention called JediCon. And she was there with Anthony Daniels and who plays C-3PO and Kenny Baker, who plays, of course, R2D2, and a couple other people. And I actually met her. I got a picture with her. I autographed. She did a little small acoustic concert. And this is this is when she was in it, basically. But it turns out that when you're watching this, The Vow, she was one of the first people to go, yeah, this isn't right. And she got out, and she got in there with her husband, and they got married there. And of course, there's another is it Catherine Oxenberg's daughter got sucked into it, and there's another documentary called Seduced, I think, the cult of Axiom and stuff like that. It's fascinating to see how it goes, but what's most fascinating is how much was actually filmed.
Oh, I know.
Documented.
So much of it. Much.
It's just crazy.
Yeah. So very intense, not for the kids, but definitely a couple of major ties to fandom and a very intriguing watch. It really kind of lets you into the human mind.
I think I'm on. I think there's a total of nine episodes.
9 episodes.
Yeah, I think I'm on episode 4 or 5 right now, and it's fascinating.
Yeah. So Kevin, you're also doing something that I'm planning to do here shortly, but you've already started. But I know you did this a couple of years ago, getting ready for Avengers Infinity War or Endgame to come out, but now you're doing it again. You are in the process of starting an MCU rewatch.
Yeah, actually, Kyle, I did the rewatch earlier this year. What I did was I decided to do these the chronological order, where you watch Captain America first because it takes place during World War II, and then you jump up to the 90s and you watch Captain Marvel, and then so on and so forth. And that was a lot of fun. But this time I'm doing it in the theatrical release, and there's a reason for it. There's a really cool article that came out just around the beginning of October. So it's a recent article. And what I liked about it was it wasn't like trying to sway you to watch one or the other. It told you this is how you watch the cinematic version, and this is how you watch the chronological version. And then they also give you kind of updates of what's happening with the stuff for a phase 4 that's coming out, because a lot of the stuff is up in question on when it's being released. There's been delays. Then you got the Disney Plus series that now we're going to play into that. So what's interesting is I pulled a couple of quotes here. It says, Marvel movies in order release date. If you want to watch the MCU movies in release order, which is what I'm doing, you'll want this list, which starts with Iron Man in 2008, right here. Here we go. Iron Man 2008. And then, of course, it ends with 2019 with Avengers Endgame and Spider-Man Far From Home. Watching the Marvel movies in release order. And this is what I thought was really cool. And this is what I'm really enjoying about doing this, Kyle, is when you watch the movies in release order, it's a terrific nostalgia trip because you remember going to Iron Man in the theater. You remember doing all this kind of stuff. Or in this case, you go to the theater, and then I remember buying this probably at Best Buy, this Blu-ray that I have right here. And what's really cool is like this movie comes out in 2008, followed up by the Blu-ray, and Blu-rays were still kind of like catching on as they weren't like the go-to media player.
They were still the upgrade over DVD.
Yeah, and plus they won that war with the HD player. But it's cool because it's got the sticker on my physical copy here saying for use only with Blu-ray players and drives. And then I love these old stickers that you get on these physical media ones that you buy. So but I thought that was a really cool thing, Kyle, because there is a great nostalgia trip to watch them in the theatrical version. I mean, you remember doing that, and it's a cool thing to go back and relive that. And the one point I wanted to make is I found myself, even though I just watched the chronological run all the way through it, I found myself not only missing the MCU and how well it's set up this chronological evolution that took place in current day most of the time of these superheroes and supernatural stuff that was happening and coming in the story. But I felt like I needed to revisit it again. And I'm like, well, how can I do it again? And I said, you know what? I'm just going to do the theatrical version. And with COVID and lockdown, a lot of families are going and watching a lot of stuff and watching all the Star Wars movies, watching all the Harry Potter movies.
So I want to throw this out there because I think this is the one thing I think Marvel especially actually is benefiting from COVID delays. And this is why I think a lot of people we're starting to feel a little Marvel burnout at the end of Avengers Endgame. And I think that by the fact it'll be almost 2 years since we've had a Marvel movie now, when by the time Black Widow finally does come out, even though we will have a Disney Plus show, a couple Disney Plus shows in the mix there, I think people are ready to get back to that universe now. I think they need this delay. Actually, the extra delay helps it and giving people the craving for it.
Well, what's really cool about this article is that it goes into a lot of cool stuff of why, it's fun to watch it this way. And like I said, it's not slamming one particular way over the other. But what I thought was interesting was that it says, wondering which Marvel movies are on Disney Plus. The list below is correct in the US, UK, and Australia for October 2020. And they had a list of most of them. And it says here, the Incredible Hulk and Spider-Man films aren't on Disney Plus because Universal and Sony own the distribution rights to them respectively. You'll have to buy or rent them on DVD, Blu-ray, or digital if you want the full Marvel movie marathon. So what's interesting was I decided, and I've got all my DVDs and Blu-rays here, and I usually have them alphabetical. I think I'm just going to put Avengers section over there by the A's and just have the entire MCU there. But of course, I started with Iron Man and I finished Iron Man. And then the last time I did my rewatch in a chronological order, I skipped Hulk. This time I did not, but I didn't have it on digital. So and I didn't want to pay $15 for it on Apple, iTunes, So I actually watched the Blu-ray and watched it. And I got to tell you, this one usually is the least favorite of all of them. And it's still not the best, but I actually enjoyed it more this time, Kyle.
Yeah, there's some fun stuff in it. I really would have loved to have seen with Ruffalo in the
the problem with this one is Edward Norton. Edward Norton was not cast well in this. I'm not a fan of him in this. He's just Edward Norton. Yeah. Even if they didn't have Ruffalo ready or they didn't even think of him at this time, I think there could have been a lot of other people that would have been better. But I really love Tim Roth as the villain in this, and you also introduced William Hurt's character who comes back later on. And I would love to see Liv Tyler come back. I found this film actually rather enjoyable. I just wasn't a fan of Edward Norton. Then, of course, I went and did Iron Man 2, of course. And this is another one of the sequels that a lot of people kind of look down on. I know you're a fan of Iron Man 2, aren't you?
I like aspects of it. There's some Mickey Rourke is just too over the top in it. I think that's.
I was able to look past that because you get Justin Hammer.
Sam Rockwell as Justin Hammer is phenomenal in that film.
And you get Justin Hammer in there, and so I really enjoyed that. And of course, you get the introduction of Scarlett Johansson, who, in my opinion, looks the best.
Oh yeah, Iron Man 2
from all the films. Loving the dark red hair that she's got, and she kicks some butt in that one as well, which is good. But I really love the relationship that's starting to happen with Pepper Potts and Tony Stark. It's a lot of fun, very rewatchable. And right now, I am watching Thor. I'm just about done with it. Loving Loki in this as well.
It's just fun. The Thor movie is just fun. Now, if you're going to ask me, obviously Avengers is the best movie of this phase, in my opinion, as far as just the importance and how good it is. But I'm a big fan of Captain America: The First Avenger too.
Well, funny you say that. That is next, and I got my Blu-ray player here, It's interesting too, because when you look at these old slips, it says 2-disc set and best superhero movie ever by Brian Erdy from CBS Movie Planet. And then, of course, next you've got the Avengers. And how big was this movie, Kyle? And I'm holding up even though I don't have a 3D player, I got a 3D Blu-ray, DVD, digital copy, and it comes with music too. But it's got that cool lenticular cover. Yeah, I love this. It's really, really cool. I'm looking forward to just diving this back into this. Let me ask you this, Kyle, and I want to ask the chat. Okay, if you were to do a Marvel rewatch right now, would you do the cinematic release, or would you like to try the chronological one?
I would go cinematic.
Yeah. I just want to mention real quick that the last thing that article said, and that can be found, where can that article? It's techradar.com, by the way, how to watch the Marvel movies. The last thing they said is, finally, here are all the original Marvel Disney Plus TV shows in the works, which will also fit in the MCU continuity, with the exception of the animated show What If. Aside from WandaVision, which is coming out in few weeks, I think, late 2020. These dates are tentative. So you got WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was August 2020. Now we're not sure, maybe 2021. Loki, spring of 2021. What If, summer of 2021. Hawkeye, fall of 2021. Miss Marvel is TBA. Moon Knight TBA. She-Hulk TBA, and Nick Fury's TBA to be announced.
You mentioned Hawkeye. I just want to bring this up real quick. I was flipping through channels the other night, and I came across the movie Tag.
Yes.
And I still consider that it's a bunch of guys versus Hawkeye in Tag.
I just want to give a shout out to Derek Marsh regarding Scarlett Johansson in Iron Man 2. Well, she is wearing that tight secretary outfit. Rawr.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, thank you, Jennifer. Kevin, I'm in love with Iron Man 3. Me too. Love it. Yeah, and she also said that Captain America is her favorite. And Nathaniel said he would go chronological, which I think is cool.
Yeah, there's not a wrong way here.
Yeah, it's one's not better than the other. Jennifer also said she would go chronological, and it's we're under quarantine. Do both. Take your time and sit back and relax. But I just found myself drawn to the Marvel universe again. And I'm really enjoying it.
Well, speaking of being drawn to things, Kevin, there's a disturbance. I can feel it. It is time to return to Mando Watch here on Culture Clash.
Mando Watch. This is our little version of talking about Star Wars because we got to do a little Star Wars on this show. But if you want all the Star Wars, you go to What a Piece of Junk podcast under the Fandom Podcast Network umbrella. There, of course, Derek Marsh is in the chat. He's one of the co-hosts there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but no, Kevin and I have to get our thoughts in on Mando too. We're not seeing them from the What a Piece of Junk Guys Thunder, but there's plenty of Mando to go around. And you know what? Hey, come on. Anytime Marshall Raylan Givens can guest star on an episode of The Mandalorian, I'm all in. I know,
right? Yeah.
Yes, we are in season 2 of The Mandalorian with much anticipation. Episode 1, or as we affectionately call it, Chapter 9, The Marshal. The Mandalorian is drawn to the Outer Rim in search of others of his kind. Kevin, absolutely love this episode. Just so much fun.
Just like the first season. Okay, so I work real early mornings, at my job. I have to, depending on the day, I have to be there either by 3, 4, or 5 in the morning. And so I'm usually off between like 11 and 1 o'clock. But I can't go to work on Friday mornings knowing that there's a Mandalorian episode out there, not knowing what happens, especially when you have a few other friends that love Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. So I am actually changing my sleeping habits. I went to bed at 7 o'clock on Thursday night, got up at 2 so I can watch this. And I wasn't sure how long it was going to be. Usually we're thinking like 35, 45 minutes. This one was like 55 minutes long. Yeah. And completely enjoyed it. And I've watched it 3.5 times this far.
Yeah, no, it was so much fun. And I'm sorry, but as much as I love Pedro, Timothy Olyphant is a god on this planet because he just steals this episode.
I'm a huge fan of Timothy Olyphant. And, let's be honest here. And I've heard people actually, detractors, saying there's a couple of things they've had a little issues with this episode, but most people just absolutely love it. But the detraction was, sure, they got Timothy Olyphant to play a marshal, because he's kind of typecast because there's 2 famous roles that he's done, with Deadwood and of course Justified. He knows, and then he had a small role in Quentin Tarantino's last film where he was playing a marshal or a guy like that.
Or even the movie The Crazies where he was the town sheriff.
Exactly. So a lot of people were like, of course you got him. I'm sorry. Give me more of him. Timothy Olyphant is now officially in Star Wars canon. And I can see all of my costume 501st friends going, yeah, we got to do a Marshall Boba Fett kind of mashup here.
Just a quick side note. I have what I call there's a list I have. I call it the coolest MFers on the planet. when there's certain actors when they have that quality and you cast them because of that quality. Sam Bruce Willis has had this quality. Sam Jackson has had this quality. Timothy Olyphant is officially now on this list. He has been for a while in my book, but I think officially now he's like, if you need the coolest MFer on the planet, you can get Timothy Olyphant.
And let me tell you, detractors here that are saying, "Oh, this was just typecasting," and he plays this type of character all the time. You're not watching enough of Timothy Olyphant. And let me tell you right now, he is extremely funny and knows how to do comedy. Of course, remember The Girl Next Door. That was a good one too. But if you have not watched Santa Clarita Diet, his 3 seasons that he did with Drew Barrymore, he is absolutely hilarious in that series. And he definitely has acting chops. He's played different characters. He's very good. But Kyle, this episode, we got our baby Yoda, which is great, Mm-hmm. But what I liked about this episode was that there was a lot of great callbacks to a lot of Easter eggs and stuff. And let me just say this off the bat, Kyle, and I think that we need to address this. This is a great combination of fan service and also character and story development.
Oh yeah, without
I have had no problem with any of the fan service in this at all. Keep it going. We didn't get enough of this in other Disney produced series. Keep this going. Keep this going. I love this. There's a lot to dive into.
Yeah. What I love so much about the Mandalorian fan service though, is it's not the obvious things. They find the obscure things in Star Wars and put it in there. And that's what's so much fun about the type of fan service they do. I know I've talked to some people that have said their issue with this episode is it felt more the same of season 1, like kind of plotting. Well, and I've turned on my look up. They're setting up major things to happen for this season. And also we needed a little bit of a slowdown point after the intenseness of the final few episodes of it.
I think what you're saying is that people are comparing this to the episode with the krill farmers and stuff like that because they help the town folks,
or even when he fought the creature in the second episode to get the egg.
I think what you guys need to understand, this is character building and story building as well, but it's more about we've seen the Mandalorian character evolve, being, not liking droids, now kind of warming up to them a little bit. And I think this is important. And we're also learning about his character, of the type of person that he is and that he can be. And that when he sees someone that is noble, honorable, and being treated back the same way, like we found out in this episode of The Marshal, he respects that and he's going to help and do what he can. And that, when he strikes a bargain. And so before everyone kind of jumps on that, where I'm seeing repetitive stories, look at the underlying theme here of the character development of the story.
Star Wars Aftermath sales are going to take a big jump.
It's true. They took some, the Cobb Vanth character and the whole Boba Fett armor thing. A lot of people aren't a fan of Chuck Wendig, and that's for obvious reasons, but it's nice that they didn't have to overwrite someone else's stuff, and they were able to pull a couple of cool things from that and really make this happen. But one of the things I got really excited about, Kyle, was, as you know, and a few other people know, I used to work for Decipher Incorporated, who made the Star Wars collectible card game. I used to play their stuff before I got hired in '99. And when they defeated the Krayt Dragon and pulled out the Pearl, I was so excited I had to pull this out here. This card, the Krayt Dragon card, came out in 1998 for the Star Wars Special Edition card game, the set. And I actually got to play test this card before it was released and before I got hired. And if you read the top right there, it says Krayt Dragon have beautiful and valuable pearl inside their gizzard to help them grind up the food. And also they're making a lot of legend stuff that's not canon anymore because there's more than one type of Krayt Dragon when you go back to a lot of the old legend stuff. And so little things like this I thought was great. And John Leguizamo was in there, dude.
Oh yeah, Leguizamo at the beginning of it as Gork Koresh. That was a great scene. And what I liked was it was the scene that we saw in the trailers. and get that out of the way. But now we've seen it.
Yeah.
We're not looking for it anymore. So I like getting
we
that
get
out of the way
Gamorrean
quick.
guards. We're getting like more not so chunky Gamorrean guards fighting with vibro axes. And I love the fact though that this episode was written by Jon Favreau, directed by Jon Favreau, and John Leguizamo was in it, because I don't know if you've seen the movie Chef. They were in that movie together. It was a great movie, by the way. Chef, go check it out. Tamara Morrison, we got to talk about this.
Yeah, I was
Kyle.
gonna say we before we close out, we got to talk about Tamara Morrison, because we've been hearing the rumors. Nothing was confirmed for sure. We've heard Rex, we've heard Boba Fett. We could still have both, but it was obvious as soon as we got Cobb Vanth that we were going to see Boba Fett. And sure enough, at the end of the episode, there's Tamara Morrison, and things are about to get really interesting real quick.
Yeah, and I think we have to see it like next episode, because he's still on Tatooine, and so we're gonna be curious as how did Fett not have, obviously he survived the Sarlacc, and there was reference to the Sarlacc, not if the Sarlacc's not in there.
Yeah, and how did the Jawas get his armor and everything like that?
And this is something that a lot of fans were kind of like, they said, Boba Fett's dead after Return of the Jedi. We'll give you some backstory, but I think that this rumored Boba Fett movie, well, not rumored, they actually started development on it, at least in the writing process, I think they're going to bring some stuff into this, which I think is good. And, I know that George Lucas was fine with saying Boba Fett's dead, and he went back and showed us a backstory of him, which is cool. But I just think it's so cool that he survived. Tamora Morrison not only did he play Boba Fett's dad, but he's playing the son.
Yeah.
And one last thing, I love the fact that we now know that the non-business end of a gaffy stick is now a toothpick for Banthas.
Yes, there we go. There we go. The things we learned. No, this was great. I love this episode. It's highly rewatchable. I can't wait. I need more. The only problem is waiting the week, because it's a long. I'm like, no, I need more now. But
I just want to mention one thing. Derek said something that the Dash Rendar we never got. I'm a little bitter about Dash Rendar dying.
yeah,
I want him back. Let's bring Dash back. Derek the Dash Marsh. Let's bring him back.
No, and I think haven't seen the last of Timothy Olyphant in this season of The Mandalorian either.
Bring it. I don't care if he's been typecast. Bring it. He plays those roles so well. Just bring it. I love Timothy Olyphant. I got a little man crush on him.
Oh, I have a big man crush. Come on, but I've had that for a very long time. So, well, Kevin, with that's going to kind of wrap things up for this episode of Culture Clash. It's good to be back.
It is, and I want to thank the chat for getting in there. Nathaniel, of course, Jennifer, Derek. You guys have been doing some great conversation in there, and we really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys for checking in. And by the way, Fargo, have you been catching up on Fargo? I have not.
I'm a little behind on Fargo, but people rave about it. Oliphant had a few episodes in Fargo. Chris Rock is in the current season of Fargo as well. It's a very popular show. It's something I need
saw
to go
the
back.
first season, but I didn't see the second. I got to check it out. So,
I think it's up to season 4 now.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Anyway, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, guys. It's been a blast. Culture Clash is back on a 2-week schedule every Monday, 7 p.m. right here on the Fandom Podcast Network YouTube channel. Coming up, we're next on the YouTube channel will be Wednesday at 9 p.m. The End Zone with its all new format. We're still working on a few fun things, but looking forward to have you guys join in there. Kevin's got his wombat. I have kittens I need to go to attend. So, as always, as the great prophet said, be excellent to each other, and as we say around here, enjoy your fandom.
Wombat Zoomies.
Oh, I can match that.
Nice. That's the same one. We're alien buddies.
Yeah. Everyone in the chat, thanks for joining us. I got kittens to go take care of. We will see you in a couple weeks. See ya. Okay. And